Somewhere in a bank right now, there is an employee who left 3 months ago, and their admin account is still active. It can still open customer data. It can still change access rights, and no alarm went off because the system is running exactly as configured, which is the problem. There is exactly one team in a bank whose job is to go looking for things like this, and it is one of the most misunderstood jobs in banking. By the end of this video, you will know how a real bank audit runs, start to finish, and the 2 questions auditors use to take apart any process, questions you can steal for your own work. So, first principles. A bank is thousands of people, and management keeps telling the board everything is under control. The root question is simple. Who verifies that is actually true? The regulator sits outside and shows up rarely. External auditors mostly check the annual accounts. So banks employ their own independent inspectors, and that is internal audit, paid by the bank but reporting to the very top of it, so they can look into anything and do not owe anyone in the middle a favor. Their product is an honest, evidence-backed answer to one question: does this really work? Now, people constantly mix internal audit up with compliance, so here is the difference. A bank has specialist watchdogs. Compliance lives inside specific rulebooks every single day, securities rules, anti-money laundering, and monitors them continuously. Internal audit has the wider mandate. It audits every activity and process in the bank, governance included. And here is the twist most people miss. It also audits the watchdogs. Risk management and compliance themselves get inspected. That is why it is called the third line, the team that checks the checkers. And none of this is a nice to have. In Germany, the Banking Act requires every bank to run an internal audit function, and BaFin's Ma-Risk rulebook dedicates a whole module to how it must work. The key requirement is that it is process independent. Auditors never audit work they were involved in themselves. A bank without a working internal audit is not just badly organized, it is in breach of its license requirements. So what does the work actually look like? Not one giant checklist, a loop that runs every year. It starts with a risk analysis. Where could this bank get hurt the most? That ranking becomes the audit plan, because you cannot audit everything every year. German rules even put numbers on it. Areas with special risks get audited every single year, and essentially everything else has to come around within 3 years. Then come the actual audits, the findings, the report, and the follow-up. And whatever the auditors find feeds straight back into next year's risk analysis, a loop. Let us follow one single audit through that loop, the one from the opening. The risk analysis flags access management as high risk. Classic choice, because people join the bank, switch roles, and leave constantly. And every leaver is a chance for access to outlive its owner. So the question, who can actually do what in our systems, goes on this year's plan, and an auditor picks it up. Watch what they do next, because this is the craft. Here is the payoff I promised, because every audit on Earth boils down to 2 questions. Question 1 is about design. Is there even a proper rule for this? Our auditor pulls the offboarding policy, and it says all access is removed when someone leaves. Good rule, well designed. Pass. Question 2 is about effectiveness. Does it actually happen? And for that, you do not read documents. You test reality. Take the list of everyone who left the bank, take the live list of who has access today, and compare them. And there it is, one leaver from 3 months ago, still holding an active admin account. The policy passed, reality failed. This is exactly why the 2 questions exist, because most failures in banks are not missing rules. They are good rules that quietly stopped being followed. On paper, this bank looked fine. And notice, nobody assumes bad intent. A ticket got lost somewhere, a handover was skipped. The auditor's job is not blame, it is making the break visible before someone with bad intent finds it first. But the auditor cannot just say, "Trust me, I saw it." Every statement in an audit has to trace back to filed evidence, the exported leaver list, the access report, dated, stored, untouched. Otherwise, the business can simply answer, "You checked the wrong version," and the whole finding collapses. And evidence gets judged too. Does it exist? Is it current? And does it actually prove the point? A screenshot showing a control is configured does not prove the control ever ran. Auditors get burned by that one constantly. The finding goes into the audit report, graded by how severe it is, and lands on the desks of the bank's top management, with the supervisory board seeing it too. But here is what outsiders always miss. The report is not the end of the job. Every finding becomes a measure, with a named owner and a deadline, and internal audit follows up until it is verifiably fixed. And this part has teeth, because banking supervisors read these reports, and open findings that never close are exactly what they dig into. Once the fix is proven, the risk drops, next year's risk analysis relaxes, and the loop closes. One more thing, because it is changing this job right now. Our auditor compared those two lists by hand, so realistically, they sampled a few dozen accounts out of thousands, trusting the rest were clean. AI removes exactly that constraint. It can compare every account against every lever, the full population, and flag the handful that break the pattern. What it does not remove is the human, because someone still judges what the machine found, and someone still signs the opinion. If you want that story in full, the previous video on this channel is about exactly that. So, what is internal audit? The bank's own independent inspectors, running an endless loop. Risk decides where to look. Two questions decide what to test. Is it designed right, and does it really work? Evidence decides what counts, and follow-up makes sure findings actually get fixed instead of filed away. If you are learning this world, steal the two questions. They take apart any process you will ever meet. And if breakdowns like this help you, the free RegAI brief newsletter is where the next one lands. I will see you there.